This episode of the Beauty by ABIC podcast is brought to you by Bloom, powered by the French Beauty Academy. Hello and welcome to the Beauty by ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Here, we are strengthening and unifying the industry through representation, innovation, and education. This is a platform created and dedicated to the aesthetic and beauty industry, valuing unity and advancement. We serve to represent, support, and inspire you by connecting you with industry experts, expanding your knowledge through educational pieces, and bringing you the latest industry news. This is Beauty by ABIC. I'm your host, Stephanie Miller, and today's guest is Renee Smith from Bloom, powered by the French Beauty Academy. With over 18 years' experience in the beauty, dermal, laser, cosmetic, and retail industries at both an educational and managerial level, Renee has seen it all. Renee began her career in film and television as a makeup artist in the Lord of the Rings movie production, continuing her true passion of service to others in spa and wellness, before, like many of us, becoming addicted to all things skin, and went on to lecture in dermal science and dermal therapies. She is now the Business Development Manager for Bloom by the French, Australia's leading aesthetics corporate training and upskilling solutions partner. Renee is driven by a strong passion for creating organisational success, enhancing employee performance, team productivity, and quality assurance through effective training programs and driving sales and employee retention in the industry. Here to discuss innovative learning solutions for today's clinics, spas and salons from the French Beauty Academy, today we welcome Renee Smith. Welcome to the podcast, Renee. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Steph. Thanks so much for having me today.
Oh, how exciting. I've always wanted to get you on a podcast and finally we're here.
We have made the time happen, and I don't mind to talk. So I'm really excited to share some things with you and your listeners today.
Oh, how amazing. And you know what? We've actually got a very important topic that we're talking about today, and it's an extremely timely one. We're actually going to be talking about one of the most significant challenges affecting our industry at this time. And as we all know, that's the skills shortage, recruitment, and how we can actually, when we do find the staff, how we can actually find really innovative learning solutions so that those staff members grow and prosper very quickly within our clinics and salons. So, Renee, I suppose my first question is, why do you think recruitment is so challenging at the moment?
And isn't that just the golden question? I think that really is something that we all in the industry right now are scratching our heads thinking, I just don't know why. Is it my job ad? Is it, how I'm paying my staff? Should I throw in a company car? We're seeing things out there that have just never happened before to try to attract talent to apply, let alone to develop and retain them. So I guess, there's many contributing factors, Steph, as you would agree, but there's just been such a massive global increase in consumer demand for treatments. And I think a lot of people just assume that's post-COVID, the COVID phase, but we just see so many people looking for, non-surgical, no downtime, technology-driven demand for treatments, and they really want the results. So it's really interesting that, for now, and I think this is really insightful for anybody listening today, is for any 10 jobs on the market in the Australian market, there is one graduating student coming out from training providers to service the industry. It's a national problem, Steph. From our side, from the French Academy, even being the largest provider in beauty training within Australia, it's not just a one training provider's problem. It's a national problem, right? So I think that's an interesting stat. So we hear you. It's really tough out there right now.
I think it's just, you're right, the demand has been so huge in our industry. There's just so many people seeking out new innovative treatments, and there's just so many, in response, clinics opening up, and therefore the demand, it's just outstripping the supply at the moment, along with other factors, because I think I think it's starting to recover now, Renee, but I think that period of time of COVID where we did see outgoing therapists that were leaving our industry for more stable type jobs that were open, and we are starting to see them coming back to our industry. But I think we did lose quite a few really experienced long-term therapists during that time. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And it seems that the service industries generally have just boomed. But I think from an employer's perspective, and you would agree probably, Steph, I'm sure, with the power has really changed from the employer to really now being the employee's power to really select where they want to go to now because of this skill shortage. Would you agree with that? It's
Definitely,
really different,
absolutely,
in how we interview or how an employee will actually present or the list of questions they will have for you. Why should I work for you? And I think what's really catching up now with those candidates that are applying for positions, they really know that now because of the skills shortages. They really can pick and choose where they'd like to work. They can set, what their boundaries are or what their expectations are. And if that's not met or not the right fit, well, okay, I'll go and, run to the next clinic around the corner and, see how I go there. So, I mean, not to scare anybody else any further that's looking for staff, but definitely that power shift we're noticing across the board.
Absolutely. And I think we've already touched on this a little bit, but let's delve more into those market factors really driving this.
Going back to the decline, I guess, in graduates heading out to industry really was linked to funding changes. And for those that, are in education listening today, you would be aware of the vet fee help changes to vet student loans. And really we've had a lack of unified, voice at a federal and state level. So we're so lucky for ABIC and we're so grateful for ABIC to be really, the champions of our industry. And we're so thrilled to be a part of this. But, there really is a massive increase for salon managers and an increase for even film and television makeup artists, and just greater demand across the board, for nurturer type or style of occupations, nurses, childcare workers, aged care. So, there's a significant, driving force behind the scenes, leading to these skills gaps. But really, if we go back to funding and, in a higher education facility, you can access, up to $110,000 of funding, and you can utilize that funding on, whatever programs you would like to. In our sector, in the vocational education and training sector, it's very different. So our students aren't able to access, the level of funding that they would like to choose. It's all preset. So, co-payments often don't work for students, Steph. They can't, afford to co-pay, and you go to a TAFE up here and you want to study beauty therapy, there's a co-payment. So even TAFE can't actually run a program in a base level beauty therapy diploma for what the funding level is. So, we know that's a real barrier for those wanting to enter the industry as well.
And that's a really good point. And thank you so much for bringing up the fact that, we're all working together under ABIC to try to change this and try to make real lasting, significant progress in this area. And finally, we have monumentously made it to the skills shortage list, which is a very first stepping stone.
Yes, and really that list has never been bigger. It's never been bigger, that particular list, has it? So
true, right?
Yeah.
But we haven't been on that list for quite some time, and to get us on that list was no small feat, because when you're speaking to bureaucrats, they don't seem to look at the data the same way that we do, and identify that there is even in fact a skills shortage in our industry. So the fact that we've done that is monumental, and now we can start to begin to put the pieces of the puzzle in place to drive further funding and to look at skills migration and a whole bunch of other different things that will help our industry to be able to cope during this time. But one of those very important things is getting the funding, the packages right, the training, and attracting staff, attracting candidates to our industry, because I think one of the reasons that there might be a skills shortage and a qualification, and when I say might, I say that loosely in terms of, I definitely think this is one of the things, our package is just not appealing. People
Correct.
look at it and say, well, why should I study that? It's not contemporary enough. It's not really what I want to learn. It's not specialized enough. It doesn't niche the way we need it to niche. And, going through a long qualification or a diploma like that, to come out of it without the skills that you need or that you're interested in is disappointing to students. Hence, I think the lack of take up. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. And, going back to when Vet Fee helped change, Steph, we write our own curriculum. So we have our own advanced diploma of dermal science. We have our own laser programs, and, we could have had, extra programs accredited and had funding applied to that. Whereas when all of that funding changed, there was no funding available for advanced diplomas of dermal science. There was no funding available at all for, even just basic IPL or laser hair removal. So let alone skin rejuvenation and capillary reduction or vascular, and we have, students that are entering industry either unqualified or still going through a base level qualification, or are upskilling on the job, performing, advanced treatments, calling themselves a dermal therapist, but not actually having the qualification to safely and effectively, and the knowledge base perform those types of treatments to the public. So I could talk to you about this all day. It makes me itchy and scratchy and red around my neck. It's the public safety, there is such a high risk with what's happening out there. I think from an industry perspective, we're sort of buying into this frenzy because we need people, right? We can't operate our clinics because we don't have people. It's a real people problem. So, I guess we try to come in and spread the calm, and we can come in and help, which we can talk about a little bit later. But look, we're just so happy to be running with ABIC and to be, really willing and putting our hands up to saying, how can we do better? What can we do to really get some consistency in qualifications across the board within Australia?
And it's really smart because you've actually come in with a solution to that problem. The industry hiring perhaps unqualified people and trying to then teach them on the job with no formal systems around that. And this is where you can come in and say, okay, let us help you to formalise this. Let us help you to get those qualifications you need, or those standards you need, or those learnings that you do need. And it's just so exciting. Before we move on and talk about this incredible offering that you've got, what advice do you have for those sort of looking to attract, really also retain and then further develop their staff?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. And definitely, one that we get asked a lot is, what else can we be doing? How could we be doing better as a business? How could we be attracting the right candidates? I've had a job ad up for 3 months and I've just not got the right types of candidates, applying. And really, Steph, I think it goes back to, and we talk about this with our clients, is, investing in your employer brand. A lot of our graduates and, a lot of our alumni, they really want to know, what is it that you stand for as a business? Why do I want to come and work for you? And what's in it for me? And I know us old dinosaurs in the industry, I call myself now, we don't like to have to explain that, or we kind of like get into this fixed mindset of, I'm a dermatologist, I have this reputation, or, I've had this clinic established and, you should want to come and work for me. It just does not work like that anymore. So I'm sure you would agree, we would stay back, Steph, and earn our spots and work hard and do everything that we could to get a promotion and to get to that next level. It's very, very different now.
That.
So
yes.
it's really flipped on its head, and we have to not be fixed minded about that. So employer branding, super important. My biggest advice would be take the time to think about how your business is different and unique to the one down the corner. Why does somebody want to come and work for you? How will you, develop them? What would you invest in with them? And how would you recognize them or groom them? So I think when we stop and reflect on that, we can often, as business owners, get really, really busy in the day-to-day and the frustrations that we're faced with. But I think, your people right now are your diamonds, right? They are your gems, and you want to polish them and you want to keep them shiny.
I love that. They are the face of our brand. Gone are the days where we look at our employees as our workers. They're actually our partners in this, you know. They're the people who we partner with to help our clients. I think the shift in perception needs to happen. You're right.
Yes, yeah. And recruitment's expensive. It's so expensive to continually recruit. You know what? The upwards of $10,000 to recruit, Steph, each time. So if that's something that's constant, it's very expensive. When if you're, I guess, having a bit of a plan behind you and some employer branding, it's probably far more cost effective to keep that person and work with them, as opposed to having them, you know, pack up and leave and you're back to square one.
Absolutely. Recruitment is expensive, and then ongoing training can be thousands upon thousands.
Yes.
If you're losing a senior therapist and you're replacing them with a junior therapist or an intermediate, it could be years and years of training, far more than the $10,000 recruitment. And then what about the clients that, you know, are impacted with the,
they get used to that person that they love.
That's right.
Yes.
You know, a change of service. It really is so profound when you lose a really good senior staff member. Retention is got to be top of mind, you know, in all clinics and salons at the moment. You don't want to lose your good staff. And there's lots of ways to keep your good staff with you for the long term. And one of them is, of course, training. Let's shift gears into this amazing, kind of really unique. I'm still trying to get my mind around it because it's so avant-garde, it's so new that it takes a while to understand what exactly this new offering is. So it's called Bloom. Why was Bloom created, and why is it different to anything else out there on the market?
Yes, well, we're very excited to bring Bloom to life, that's for sure. And we really stand proud. And I love how you mentioned avant-garde, because that's actually, you know, that's actually one of our pillars that we hold ourselves to within everything that we do within the academy. So look, Bloom is a fully customizable, scalable learning solution center for the industry. So that in itself sounds really broad, doesn't it? So you're right. It's a big beast. But what I love about Bloom, and I honestly could talk about it all day, is that it's not a one size fits all sort of style of platform or offering. So it's really uniquely different because we really collaborate, Steph. Like for your particular clinics, you know, we come out and we talk to you about what you're trying to drive from a business perspective. You know, I'm sure that you want to be able to deliver the most highest quality, highest standard, safest services, you know, in this ever-growing market. But you want to also really be able to align that to attracting the right candidates. You want to align your offerings to development and retention. But, you know, you want your teams to be able to deliver these treatments that your consumers are coming to you saying, hey, like, what can you do? And, you know, they want to feel like they, you know, can come to your clinics and feel safe, and they trust you, and that therapist is well trained and qualified and hasn't just done a quick boot camp or a quick, you know, whiz through on that particular treatment. They really want to know, you know, that the quality is there.
From the pioneers and leaders in beauty education, the French Beauty Academy is proud to introduce Bloom, a premium, customizable, scalable learning and development house for the beauty industry. Bloom offers learning solutions through both online and practical training for clinics and salons to attract, retain, and develop their staff. Today's modern aesthetic clinics need to ensure they deliver a high-quality, safe service in a growing and evolving aesthetics market. As Australia's largest beauty training provider, the French are uniquely placed to support all businesses with their learning and professional development needs. To learn more, go to www.thefrenchbeautyacademy.edu.au/bloom-by-the-French/.
So I guess from our side as Australia's largest training provider, we're able to actually now really assist teams on the ground. And going back to your point there, Steph, about, training can often be the first thing that gets cut from a budget. It can be really expensive. We know that. So I guess how Bloom is different to a traditional student coming through our, or a training provider is that we actually fully customize our offerings. We package up solutions around what the business is trying to drive, aligned to the career aspirations of the team, and we release our training in a structured, robust way so that the employee really stays engaged with the clinic. They're working, towards their own particular career aspirations, in alignment to what the business is trying to do, but it really has the ability to, even become a 3-year development and retention strategy for a business. So imagine how good it is, how amazing it would be for your business if you could really hang on to that diamond or diamonds for 3 years. It's very hard to keep them for even 3 months right now. So, it's not at a pay-per-user price point, Steph, and I think that's where Bloom's uniquely different. So, we work with our corporate clients at corporate pricing that's really scalable around what they're trying to drive.
So it's such a new concept, but you could say to your staff member, I'm going to put you through a qualification that will take 3 years whilst you work with me. Will they get a formal qualification out of it? Can they? Is that customizable?
Well, absolutely. And I think this is where, Bloom really is uniquely different. So there's no one size fits all. So we really get down on the ground with our team and we really speak and take the time to collaborate, understand the business and work out what the best solution will be. Now, that may only be a 6-month package for unlimited participants in a series of accredited and or non-accredited programs. They may say, do you know what? No, my strategy is I need to keep my people invested. I'll be looking at 12 months or even post 12 months. What else could we do? What are my options here? So we basically workshop that with them. We find the perfect fit. But absolutely, if it is qualifications that they want their team to have at a corporate pricing scale, then absolutely we can build the structured release of accredited units over a period of time that can actually map towards full qualifications.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. I'm thinking right now, let's do a deep dive and explore this. I'm thinking right now, a scenario. I have a senior staff member, a senior clinician that's working for me, for example, for the last 6 years. She wants to know what's next in her career. There is an opportunity for a 2IC position, but she hasn't had any salon management experience. I then say to her, okay, commit to me for the next 2 or 3 years and I will train you to become a salon manager or a 2IC whilst you're in that position. And at the end of it, you'll get a formal qualification to put on your CV as a salon manager through Bloom.
Correct.
Is this correct?
Very correct. So that is one solution, Steph, out of a whole range of solutions. But yes, that definitely is something that we can do. And, that particular program that you mentioned is one of our finest. And that's heavily contextualized for not just the beauty industry, but also the hair industry and salons and clinics as well. So yes, that is a good one. And you can set as the business owner how long you'd like that program to run for. And we talk about, the structured release of units. We don't want training to be overwhelming. It won't be successful for us or for your business. So what's going to work for you? And again, going back to how Bloom, is different to, I guess, there's a lot of bespoke training happening right now. And there's always that element of bespokeness that we do in everything that we work with. However, your team, Steph, on the ground, or that particular employee that's coming through Bloom in management, she can access our dedicated support educators in Bloom anytime. She can schedule one-on-one support sessions. That clinic may need assistance in in a power hour. from Team Bloom, but we really stay in our lane. We're not going to come in and take away from your product partners that are talking about cosmeceuticals, or somebody's coming in as a specialist and owning a different area. We really, we know what we're good at. We stay in our lane and we work to complement and supercharge what you currently have in the business. So,
So that example
quite
is
different.
just a tip of a very, very big iceberg of what you can offer.
Yes.
That was just an example. So that is one scenario that could work. Give us a couple more scenarios so that we start to understand the depth and breadth of Bloom and its offering.
Yes, absolutely. So, look, we specialize in all things from brow lamination within the academy, all the way up to advanced diplomas of dermal management, laser programs, as I said. But we come in to service the industry many other ways. So, for example, WA, Queensland, clients that want to start their own aesthetic business. They want to go into devices, but they have no idea what to do next. So we can actually come in and support them during that journey. We do things like radiation safety protection plans. Steph, where we come in and actually assist with possession licensing, all of the compliance, approval to acquire, assist with radiation safety officer training to get that team going. Then the team may need to go into some specific other types of modality training. We can do that. And then from there, they may need a package like made for that particular business, like a clinic startup or a clinic click start to get them going. So that might be things like, okay, that business needs for a 12-month period, 12-month access for everybody in the team to do IPL and laser safety officer training. They need infection control training. They need, a basic skin starter, skin lover, skin star training in biology. That's going to set them up for success. And that package price point for unlimited users is at a corporate rate, not a per user rate. So I guess Bloom has the potential to be like a Netflix for education. But what we do,
it's
not
love
front.
That,
yeah, it's not front. It's not front facing, Steph. Like we don't want to move. We don't want to be a set and forget. We want to be a moving boat all the time, where we find the right fit. So it's really that initial contact, that collaboration, and that can take some months to collaborate and find the right fit, and then we go for it. So yes, I think if you look at Bloom, it's broad, but it doesn't have to be broad.
Okay, so let's lay out that scenario. You're a therapist, you want to start your own business, but you don't know where to start. So you would engage Bloom to say, okay, what's the quick start program? What do I need? I'm going to create a package for a year, and that will support me whilst I hire my staff in the first year, train my staff in the first year, introduce new treatments and packages and equipment into my business, and Bloom will be there to support my journey for that first year to get me started.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And, and beyond. So it really, it's quite a unique product, as you can see now. But yes, absolutely, we can do that. And I guess, the size and scale of the French Beauty Academy now, we're so excited to be able to bring this to the people in the industry. And, they have the ability to basically hire us as their own RTO. They can leverage off our curriculum writers. They can leverage off our learning management system. We can co-brand. We can, there's so many exciting things we can do for a really beautiful integration between the two businesses to make it work.
How wonderful. And I'm stuck on the scenarios. Me as a clinic owner and everybody listening to this is trying to still grasp this concept. So I'm going to throw out another scenario, and that will be probably the last one. What's happening in our industry right now is there's a lack of diploma qualified beauty therapists. So obviously clinics are hiring Cert 2 or Cert qualified beauty therapists, and then training them, or beauty service qualified people, and then training them to do other services. You could offer to keep this is for a long-term retention strategy. If you're hiring in that way, you could then offer them, look, learn the diploma of beauty therapy through us and through French, stay within almost like a traineeship, but add in all of the components specifically required for that business. And it could be IPL, and it could be microdermabrasion, or it could be the more beauty services type treatments that you're offering. And you can tailor in how to sell, how to recommend, how to consult, all of those things within that particular training package. Would that scenario work?
That's a really good question. And look, I think there's a lot of listeners that will be, literally having their fingers and toes crossed right now, hoping that that is a yes. Look, we always go back to the industry needs base level, diploma of beauty therapy qualified staff.
Yes.
We know that as a base level, that's, not something that's happening. Steph, we've got the industry hiring people with no quals whatsoever.
That's exactly right.
So, you're interested in beauty? Great. Come and join me and I'll teach you everything, and that's great if you have somebody that, wants to, jump in and try and do that. But often it's not legal or there's insurance issues and, your clients are at risk. But look, we partner in industry with many different ways, Steph, across the board. And we're really open to hearing about what the industry needs, what they're looking for. There's lots of different styles of partnerships that we could offer. So, before jumping into, that's a definite yes or a definite no, we're really open to hearing more about what the industry needs. And definitely we can solution, anything that somebody wants to go on to learn and continue to learn for, development and retention, from those qualifications. And yeah, that's a beautiful journey that we can create, very easily. So
wow.
I hope that answers your question, Steph, without sort of putting anybody off or raising any hopes. But, there's lots of ways that we're pivoting as a business across the board.
I think it's a really valid thing to explore because that's pretty much the scenario of our industry is that there are unqualified people or there are people that have qualifications which are completely valid but maybe need to upskill their qualifications in order to be performing the treatments that they are currently doing or that the clinic offers. And so, short of losing that person in your business, telling them, look, you need to upskill is definitely the right way to go. It is not, upskilling your staff is not a controversial topic, I suppose, because if you had somebody, for example, I have a beauty therapist in my business and I want to upskill them to become a dermal therapist, I think that doing it whilst they're employed with me, and that's one thing that I did with another of my staff members, is they were actually completing their dermal therapy diploma with an institute whilst they were working for me. It does work because your staff members, the employees, want to learn whilst they're working. It doesn't detract actually from the job role. It actually adds to it because a lot of people say, well, I want my staff members to concentrate on working rather than learning. In actual fact, their learning feeds their work. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And Steph, I've managed salons, clinics and spas. I've been an educator for a long time. I just know how powerful it would be for me if I was interviewing a new employee and I asked them the golden question that we all do, which is where would you see yourself in 5 years in your career?
Yes.
Or, what are your career goals? Where would you like to get to? And that's a really common question that we ask in an interview, right? Mm-hmm. But it's often a question that once answered, we actually can't service or guarantee being that particular business, owner or manager, because that sounds great. And, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. But then it's almost like it's out the window. They've had their moment to share that. But I think how powerful would it be for you as a business owner or a manager to actually be able to say, to that employee, that's fantastic. And I really hear you. And you know what? We really invest in our people. And, if you stay with me, I will get you there. That's a great career aspiration to have. And you should strive high. That's fantastic. We want people like you in our business. So, and I guess, that's another reason, how, Bloom, can really be the true authentic answer to that particular, aspiration or idea.
How wonderful. You're right. That 5-year question does happen at every interview. I know I pulled that one out, but to make them be able to fulfill, we always try as business owners to try to fulfill that aspiration as close as we can. But to be able to have a, training provider to actually partner with to, in a structured way, deliver that, yes, you would have retention from your staff. Yes, you would get the best out of them because you're constantly feeding them. I think the way that you probably don't have a successful staff member is to not invest in their training and education.
Yes, that's right. But align to what they truly want to do, I think is, the key take home, because I myself know if I'm having to complete programs at night and, that these aren't really speaking to me and I have to do them because my boss has invested in them, but I don't really want to because it's not really my thing. That's not successful for anybody, right? So I guess, that tailor aspect, what we can do could be really attractive.
That's actually a really good point. So how would that work? You partner with the business owner and the employee at the same time to see what the business owner needs and what the employee needs, and then you'd mitigate that and create something that match both the expectations?
Yes, absolutely. So if we go back to like just general career aspirations, Steph, in our industry is, some will start off as beauty therapists. They then may want to move into become a dermal therapist or a device expert. They might want to go into management or buy their own business, or they might want to go into injecting and want a pathway to university. So depending on how that particular business owner, like what their mindset is, what they would like to do and how they'd like us to approach things with them, because everybody's different. If they're happy to open up those conversations to their team and say, do you know what? I'm going to do a 12-month subscription to Bloom. Guys, I want you to come and meet Team Bloom, and I want you to go through a journey with them and select what you truly want to be, what you truly want to learn. Now, that definitely could be things, like the traditional accredited units. It could be different masterclass types of, boot camps online or, some in person with academic support. Or it could even be things like financial literacy. So, how do I manage my money? How do I set myself up? We have an incredible program for that. It could even be things from like soft skills or a holistic service excellence program, like a self-discovery journey about themselves. That's where I guess, Bloom can look really broad, but there's so many things we can offer. And we would just say, just ask us and we can talk to you about it.
Goodness me, how many staff members do you have to be able to provide? How many specialists do you work with?
Look, we have over 130 team members within the academy. Wow, we have Bloom teams. And, it really depends, on your budget too out there, for those listening is, you may be happy for us to be able to zoom in and keep Team Bloom, keep in contact with your employees and offer those sessions. And, that can really work, very easily. Or you may need some on the ground training support, like account management. We can come in and schedule things, trading wise for you. So yeah, look, it really depends on what the business is trying to drive with their teams.
And you're based in Queensland, but
yes. Brisbane, Gold Coast and Adelaide we are in at the moment.
But is this a national program? Can we in Melbourne or Sydney use this?
Yes, absolutely. There's definitely ability for us. So our Bloom is available nationally, and really it depends on the level of training that you're after, and we circle back to you with what that looks like.
And so that could be via Zoom or via online platforms. Could there be an in sort of person component to it? Do you have those capabilities?
Yes, absolutely. We do.
Wow. This is incredible. One more question. Can business owners utilize training programs to help them to run businesses? Do you have anything specifically designed for business owners? So
the management program, which is contextualized to our industry, Steph, currently is what we would move forward with. But how we supercharge, and so this is what I love about working for the French family actually, is when, yes, we have to tick the box. It's a training package, it's accredited for compliance. Of course, we do that, but we can supercharge any of those units within, contextualized to what the industry needs. So if it's, you need profit and loss, knowledge, or you don't know, how to pull reports, or, our curriculum teams can come in and they can create that, in a click of a finger. They're incredible. So I guess it depends on the level of customization that you'd need from that program, but we can put any program on scope to deliver, Steph, that's accredited. So if we don't have something on scope, or we can't cherry pick from our units to bundle something incredible up for you, then we will add it onto scope, and we will, work with that particular partner, and we'll develop that so that, it meets that particular business.
Fascinating. If someone is sitting right now wants to reach out to you and sort of start chats, how would they do that?
Yeah. So look, we have Bloom by the French, obviously on the French Beauty Academy's website. They can, of course, contact the Academy. We have our Instagram, Bloom by the French, as well. But yes, obviously our details are all across those platforms. So that's probably the easiest way. We're here to help, and, it takes time to find the right fit. Of course, if a business is looking for immediate solutions, we have, over 20 packages already ready to go for what we think the industry needs. And, that's fantastic. They're like our most popular, and that can get somebody started. But, it really depends on the level and the longevity with the partnership, or what that looks like as a project. That can take a little bit of time to nut through, but we really like that. We love that part. It's the best, that collaboration.
And the customization. I love that. Okay, so we've talked about so many amazing things today, but I know you have a really good piece of advice with regards to training, recruitment, or just in general for our clinic owners and salon owners. What's the most important thing that they can be doing right now in this area?
Well, I think going back to my diamond analogy, invest in the people that you have right now. It's much more cost effective to try to keep the people you have with you and running in the same direction as what you are. I guess have a think about what values you truly stand for as a business. Do you treat your staff right? If you treat your staff right, they'll treat your customers right. They're happy to be there. And just generally, Steph, and I'm sure we're all on the same page with this, is in the end that brings prosperity for your business. You really want to be able to keep them aligned, keep them with you, because it is very hard to find new talent in the market right now.
Wise words from Renee. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steph. Thanks for having me. I hope that shares some insights for the listeners. So yeah.
Oh, we had a great discussion today. I think everybody is going to find some value in this. Thank you so much to you and the French and Bloom for supporting the industry through ABIC. It is such an important initiative that ABIC is because we are here for everybody, and we're here to be able to advance standards and to make, as you said, make our industry prosperous and to really look after our members, but also our clients and patients, to make it safe and a really, really great place to be and for them to be patrons of. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for the words of wisdom that you've given us today. We're really excited about Bloom, and I'm sure we're going to get so many people wanting to know more. And for those more interested, we will do some more insights into Bloom in the future. So stay tuned through ABIC and also through the French. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you, Steph. Thanks for your time.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Beauty by ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay connected.